All right, we are diving straight into the Strait of Hormuz, where what looked like a simple naval standoff was actually just the tip of the iceberg. And trust me, this isn't just a story about ships and drones. This is about a hidden war of signals and a pretty shocking claim of a major intelligence breach.
So picture this. You're in the Strait of Hormuz, right? The single most important oil choke point on the planet. Suddenly, an American-flagged ship is swarmed by Iranian fast boats. The tension is sky high. Warnings are being shouted back and forth. And then, in a move that nobody saw coming, the U.S. ship is actually forced to turn around and retreat. But that single moment, well, that kicked off a whole chain of events that pulls back the curtain on a much deeper, much more complicated conflict.
Now, you have to understand, this wasn't just some random encounter out on the high seas. The source material we're looking at claims this was a deliberate test. That American flagged ship, it supposedly sailed into waters claimed by Iran for one single reason: to see how they'd react, to test their alertness, their readiness, their response time.
And boy, did they get a response. The second that ship crossed the line, Iranian drones were on it. Fast attack boats just swarmed out of nowhere, surrounding the vessel. The warning they gave was crystal clear: turn back now, or things are going to get ugly. The American ship did what it was told. So the test got its answer, loud and clear. Iran was wide awake.
You see, this whole standoff was a massive signal. It was Iran showing the world they are ready to defend what they consider their territory. But here's the thing. As intense as this showdown on the water was, it's really just one small piece of a much, much bigger game being played out, mostly unseen, in the skies high above. So let's shift gears. We're moving from the waves up to this new battlefield, in the sky. Because up here, power isn't about having the fastest boats. It's about who has the best eyes watching from above. And it turns out Iran isn't just relying on its own tech. 45? Think about that number. According to our source, that's roughly how many Chinese satellites are now pointed directly at this one critical waterway. I mean, that creates this unbelievable surveillance net, tracking every single move and painting a live digital map of the entire area. And that surveillance advantage gets a massive boost from a huge shift in navigation tech. You know, we all use the American GPS system, it's just standard. But Iran has reportedly switched over to China's version, the Beidou system. And they're not just using it to figure out where their own ships and drones are. And this is the real kicker. By using the Beidou network, Iran can allegedly track the GPS signals of U.S. vessels. This basically gives them a live window into American movements, turning what we think of as a simple navigation tool into a seriously powerful weapon for spying and intelligence gathering. So you've got all this drama, all this tension focused on one ship in the strait. Which leads to a really interesting question. What if that whole public showdown was just a distraction? What if, while the entire world was watching the boats, the real mission was happening somewhere else entirely, at almost the exact same time? Okay, so let's zoom in on this second event, which you could argue is way more important. This part of the story involves an Iranian drone and its target, the USS Abraham Lincoln. We're talking about a nuclear-powered supercarrier. It's basically a floating American airbase, a huge symbol of military power.
So while all that chaos was happening in the strait, an Iranian Shahed 139 drone was apparently flying a top-secret mission right over the carrier. And its goal wasn't just to snap a few photos. Nope. This was a data heist. The claim is that it actually pulled it off, beaming its stolen data back to base literally moments before it was shot out of the sky.
That just raises this massive question, right? What kind of data is so valuable that you would willingly sacrifice a sophisticated drone to get it? I mean, it's not the number of jets on the deck or how many sailors are on board. You can find that stuff online. No, the data this drone was supposedly after was something way more sensitive, something that gets to the very core of what makes that carrier so powerful. And this, right here, is the craziest allegation in this whole story, that this wasn't just a spying mission. It was an act of electronic warfare. The drone wasn't just looking, it was listening, and it was taking.
So what exactly was the target? It was the carrier's signal tracking systems. The easiest way to think about this is like the ship's electronic force field. It's this incredibly complex web of signals that's designed to confuse and jam and just totally disable any enemy missiles coming at it. It is, without a doubt, the single most important key to a supercarrier's survival.
Let me be perfectly clear about what's being claimed here.
This was an electronic heist. The entire point of the drone mission was to get close enough to steal the digital blueprints of that electronic shield. So here's how this alleged hack supposedly went down. Step 1. The drone somehow gets past the carrier's outer defenses. Step 2. It connects to the signal tracking systems, basically plugging in to listen. Step 3. It copies the crown jewels, the critical data on exactly how those defenses work. And finally, step 4. In the last seconds of its life, it successfully transmits all of that data back home.
The claim is incredibly bold and very direct. The mission worked. That vital data, the key to the USS Abraham Lincoln's defenses, is now in the hands of Iran, and by extension, their strategic partner, China. Now, if that's true, the implications are just, well, they're staggering.
So, what does this all mean? What's the big picture here? Well, if this is true, this one single drone flight could represent a massive shift in the military balance of power in the Persian Gulf. Just look at the change. Before this incident, a U.S. carrier's defense system was a total black box to its enemies. Now, Iran is claiming they have the keys to unlock it. Where the U.S. used to have this clear technological advantage, that gap may have just gotten a whole lot smaller. And really, that's the ultimate takeaway. Knowing the secrets to your enemy's shield is one of the best offensive weapons you could ever ask for. It means you might be able to build missiles they can't stop or design attacks they can't defend against. It completely changes the math of any future fight.
This whole thing leaves us with a pretty heavy thought. In the 21st century, war is becoming a battle of signals, of data, of electronic breaches. And it makes you wonder, in this new kind of war, what does the first shot even look like? And is it possible it's already been fired?